It is a country that I truly am in love with. About 20 years ago, I made a decision at Cisco that India would be, I think, the future development engine of the world. And I made a very conscious decision at that time to put the second world headquarters for Cisco in India. At that time, nobody had taken that risk before. And it's amazing how that has paid off for us. When Prime Minister Modi was elected, I made a decision at that time to become part of US ISPF, and we bet on leadership. Leadership, whether it's in Andhra Pradesh or in India, makes a difference on a global basis. His vision of a digital India has been amazing in terms of its implementation. But what has been amazing, if you watch how far things have changed in the last 10 to 20 years. 20 years ago, India was the number 12 nation in the world in terms of GDP. Today, India's number 4. When you think about the conversations that have occurred over the last, I'm going to ask the group in the back, can somebody just get a little bit of attention for the group? I thank you very much. Thank you, Mukesh. You can do multiple jobs very well. But when you think about how much has changed in India over the last 10 to 20 years, it has been amazing. It isn't just the economic direction of the country. It is the innovation engine and the ability to dream and make dreams come true. We've had great conversations over the last 2 days here with government leaders, both on a national and an individual state level. But I've never been more optimistic about India's future than I am right now at this moment in time. And the reason for this optimism is the culture of this country. Every challenge that has been outlined for this country's future by Prime Minister Modi has been achieved on schedule or way ahead of schedule. Economic growth is achieved, like I said, from number 12 to number 4, and it will be the number 1 nation in the world in terms of GDP during our lifetimes. Startups, we talked about Startup India, and a dream that candidly, Mukesh, as you know, we were not a good startup nation. There were very few IBOs in India, very few startups, and if you don't have startups, you don't have the next generation of high-tech companies or a business. Today, guess what the number 1 country in the world in terms of new IPOs are? It's India. And most people just 10 years ago thought that would be an impossibility. When Prime Minister Modi outlined a vision of a digital India and broke it into the 11 planks that we're focused on, most people thought that was a dream too far. I had the honor of working with the Prime Minister on 8 of those 11 planks, and on Make in India, I was there when he kicked it off in Delhi about the possibilities of becoming a manufacturing powerhouse. And again, if you watch the announcements, especially the last year, about manufacturing commitments here in India, and Apple probably represented one of the very best. Google, we talked about the commitment of the data centers in Andhra Pradesh earlier. If you think about why I'm also very comfortable with the direction of the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum, it's because of the ability to have the track record to deliver on our commitments that we said. It's also about the ability to form lasting relationships. And Mukesh and Gaurav and Nivi, every single relationship that we formed, we saw in the last day and a half, is one for life. And there isn't a question about, is the U.S. and India going to become the most strategic partnership of the world? It absolutely will. But like any relationship, there will be bumps along the way. And for those of us who understand business, we're used to that as part of our daily lives. I have complete confidence that our 2 leaders in the U.S. and here in India will work through those differences. When you really think about the opportunity for the future, you can say, how committed is American business to India? Out of our 450 members of US ISPF, every one of them is committed to maintaining their same spending level or a higher spending level for the future. And business doesn't invest on election cycles. Business invests on thinking 5 and 10 and 15 years out. I have a pretty good track record of calling market transitions. I'm not real good in English, as you all figured out. Unfortunately, it is my primary language. I'm a little bit dyslexic, but I catch up to it. But just to add credibility, when I say here's what's going to probably happen in India, we called each of those calls 20 years ago. I had the opportunity to say, when you think about the future of something called the internet, it will change the way you work, live, learn, and play in 1992, when people thought that's moving around zeros and ones. You begin to think about where we went from there. We at Cisco invented the concept of innovation by doing it yourself, acquiring and strategically partnering. And Shantanu, that sounds logical today, but nobody else did it at that time. And yet even the CEO of Walmart, when I interviewed him about 4 weeks ago for a podcast, he said, we model our M&A after what you did at Cisco. Voice will be free, change the service model forever, and force the service providers to move to where transmission and direction will be. A little bit higher? Thank you. And you also think about a digital world. In 2011, we described that to the World Economic Forum. And guess which country was the first one to implement a digital world? It was India in terms of their implementation. We then said that AI would change the way the world works, lives, and plays, but at 5 times the speed and 3 times the result of what the internet did. In short, it would determine the future of countries and in terms of productivity. Why I believe in India? It starts with leadership. I think you have one of the top leaders in the world in Prime Minister Modi. I would say the best one I've met in my lifetime. And you watch the team that he's built, and we've met with a number of the cabinet members. He's building a fantastic team with the ability to deliver. It will be the country for this decade, and it will be the country for this century, and it will become the #1 economy. When you think about the future of countries, it'll be about how will you digitize, how will you use AI for your future, and how great an environment you create for the citizens of your state and your country, but also how you use IT. I fell in love with India for a very simple reason. I fell in love with India first for the people. I fell in love, secondly, very candidly, for the culture of the country, and then finally for the potential. So it's possible I'm going to be wrong about India's future, but I don't think so. Market transitions, I do get right. The ability to deal with bumps, which we will have along the way, and we all know what those are today. We'll look back a year from now and say we've navigated through them. And again, I want to repeat, tremendous confidence of our 2 leaders of our countries to do that. And from a business perspective, we're all betting on this country in terms of the future. I can tell you that relationships get stronger when you have problems. And I've never completely understood that, Shantanu, but when you have a problem with the customer, you fix it, you have a relationship where you will buy more over time from that organization. Same thing is true of countries. When we have bumps along the way, it makes the relationship even stronger. I've had the good fortune with a small venture capital world to have 11 unicorns, 2 of which are decacorns. We had the best performing stock in the industry in the U.S. this last year so far in Bloom Energy. And so when I talk about what is possible, I think you're looking now at a future of a country that will lead the world in innovation. And we in the U.S. ISPF intend to be your partners. So thank you very much for your time today. And Mukesh, let me turn it back to you.
John, thank you very much. And we get into our fireside chat, and I'm delighted to basically introduce our chief guest this evening, Shri Nara Lokesh, a graduate of Carnegie Mellon and Stanford, who has basically got into building a state of Andhra Pradesh as the fastest growing state in the country. This year they have gotten commitment of over $120 billion of investment. Google announced last week a $15 billion data center and AI center itself. And with the speed he's moving, in fact, as a Minister of HRD and Technology, he has basically focused on building state of Andhra Pradesh in a not just ease of doing business, but the speed of doing business itself. So we are delighted that you could join us this evening. I welcome you to the stage. Please join us here. And I do have Shantanu Narayana, who's the chairman and CEO of Adobe and vice chairman of USISPF, taking the discussion forward. Can I request people in the back, just please pay some attention. Please, at least a courtesy to the minister, spend some time there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are we on? Yeah. First, as Mukesh said, it's really a pleasure to be here. And thank you, John, and thank you, Mukesh, for your leadership with USISPF. I'm thrilled to be here with you, Lokesh. Let me first start off by saying, Meerikadochinnaru, chala dhanyavadu. So, I have to show a little bit of my